Hey everyone, welcome back to The Explainer. So today, we're diving straight into something absolutely crucial, literally the foundation of how our modern government works. We're talking about power sharing. Think of this as your ultimate cheat sheet for understanding exactly how we distribute control, so we don't end up accidentally creating dictators.
Okay, I want you to picture this for a second. Imagine a classroom where just one single student monitor runs the entire show, completely unchecked. They're standing up front with a massive rulebook, swinging a giant gavel around, handing out all the homework, issuing every single punishment, and even dictating exactly when you get to eat lunch. No way, right? It would be a miserable, unfair nightmare. Well, that little microcosm, that's basically a dictatorship. And in a functional democracy, we actively engineer our entire system to prevent this exact scenario from ever happening.
To avoid that nightmare, modern democracies rely on four distinct pillars of shared power: horizontal distribution, vertical distribution, social groups, and finally, political parties and pressure groups.
All right, let's get into number one, horizontal distribution, a team of equal friends. So in this setup, power is shared across the different organs of government, and they're all sitting right there at the exact same level. Nobody is bigger or smaller than anyone else. You've got the legislature, which actually makes the laws. Then the executive branch, which handles executing those laws and running the day-to-day operations. And of course, the judiciary, the courts, stepping in as the ultimate referee to make sure everything lines up perfectly with the Constitution. What's really brilliant here is that this totally destroys that old-school hierarchy of having one big boss commanding everyone below them. Instead, we're talking about pure balance. Every branch keeps the others in check equally. If the executive gets a little too eager and oversteps, boom, the judiciary pulls him back. If the legislature tries to pass some illegal rule, the judiciary strikes it right down. It's this incredibly designed system of checks and balances where everyone is holding everyone else accountable.
Moving on to number two, vertical distribution, the power ladder.
Imagine an actual ladder where power and responsibility flows straight downwards. Right at the top, you have the central government. They're looking at the macro stuff, national defense, foreign policy, you know the drill. But obviously they can't manage every tiny detail. So power steps down to the state government for regional infrastructure and specific state needs. And then it steps down once more to the local government. I mean, the president really shouldn't be the one fixing a pothole in your neighborhood. Responsibility trickles down so that problems are solved by the people actually closest to them. Now for our third pillar, social groups, taking everyone along.
At its very core, a true democracy relies on absolute inclusivity. It means we are deliberately making sure no group gets left behind, whether that's based on language, religion, or anything else. Think about it. If power is only held by the demographic majority, you don't actually have a democracy, you just have the tyranny of the majority. Power sharing is what guarantees that every single cultural, religious, and linguistic slice of society gets a genuine, meaningful say in how the country is run.
So how does that work in reality? Well, we use mechanisms like reserved constituencies. By legally setting aside specific seats in the legislature for underrepresented groups, the system physically guarantees that their voices are going to reach the halls of government. It completely removes the risk of them just getting drowned out during a general election. It's essentially a structural promise that yes, everyone actually gets a voice.
Which brings us to number four, political parties and pressure groups, the political drama. This is where things get messy, loud, and honestly, pretty real. First off, you've got multiple political parties fighting tooth and nail for your vote. That intense competition means power can literally never rest permanently in one place. Second, when nobody wins an outright majority, they have to form coalitions. They literally have to join hands and compromise if they want to govern. And finally, you have pressure groups, unions, activists, you name it, forcing the government to pay attention to specific interests. It looks like chaos, but out of all this fierce competition and pressure, power ends up being effectively dispersed across all of society. All right, so we've covered the horizontal balance, the vertical ladder, the inclusivity of social groups, and the chaotic competition of political parties. Now I want to leave you with a mystery to ponder. If just one of these four forms of power sharing was entirely removed, which missing pillar do you think would cause the whole structure of democracy to collapse the fastest? Seriously, think deeply about that one, because these four concepts aren't just textbook ideas. They are the literal foundation of our freedom. Thanks for diving into this explainer with us, and we'll catch you next time.